tend to do really well in gaming, whereas the artists and other folks tend to move around a lot. But that's my take on that.
Are there any questions out there?
How long do you think it might be before we have something that passes the Turing test? And am I asking the wrong question?
Interesting. Did you guys hear that? Everybody know what the Turing test is? If there's a if you're interacting with someone, you know, I think they do it. Alan Turing, of course, was sort of one of the famous guys during World War II who worked on computers like the what was that machine that did the ENIAC and did all the code breaking. Really helped us win World War II, to be honest with you. But they came up with this test. There's another expression of that called the Chinese room, right? Which is if you pass messages in with questions on them and you get messages out that seem reasonable and they're always correct, kind of like what Watson was doing, right? Then is there intelligence? Is there sentience on that machine? If you ask Ray Kurzweil, he's got a more strict definition of when that's going to, or what that means and how you actually run that test. And it's in his book, so I hate to push someone else's book here, but The Singularity is Near has a really good description of that. But I personally think that it's already sort of happening on some level, depending on how you define what the Turing test is. I mean, the pattern recognition that Watson did was nothing short of phenomenal, and it is going to change. I saw a company in North Carolina called Therasim that's built this big inference engine. They fed it over, I don't know, a decade or so with all this information from clinical cases and what doctors sort of feeding the information in. And now you've got this system where you can create a scenario. You can actually do it online at therasim.com. Go in there and say, I've got a patient who's got these characteristics and they have this sort of background, and it will actually come up with pretty good recommendations and for what kind of treatment you should give that person. But I think that it is sort of the wrong question, because I think the intelligence that we're seeing, at least that I'm seeing with inference engines and neural nets and that sort of thing, is a completely different intelligence from humans. And I believe, like Hans Moravec and some of these guys who think that what's going to happen is some sort of merger. It's kind of already happening, isn't it? Who's got iPads, iPhones? I mean, we already have this sort of exocortical extension of ourselves, don't we? Right? So I can't go anywhere. I have 3 GPSs on me at any given time. I was walking around here, trying to figure out which way to go to my hotel, and I've got both GPSs out, and they weren't exactly agreeing, and I was like sort of stuck, like, what do I do? But I think that's already happening. But I think it'll be James Martin calls it alien intelligence. So I think it's going to be something different, but we're going to benefit from it. And those who learn to gain a comfortable fluency with these digital tools that are remaking the world are going to appear superhuman to anybody that doesn't. I think that's going to happen in rapid fashion here in the next decade. Other cool questions?
Other cool questions. I have one while we're waiting.
Oh.
Okay. Did you go down to the floor?
I did.
Was there anything extraordinarily disruptive? We saw Watson down there that you saw that might be part of what this future might look like?
You know, I spent some time playing with the Microsoft Kinect stuff, because I'm still fascinated by that. And of course, we have one at home. But, you know, I guess I didn't really spend enough time. I saw the FDA announcement, and I know a lot of folks are thinking about that, about how our hospitals are going to become medical device companies. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time sort of outside the show, like talking to folks about that. One of the things, though, that we didn't actually bring it here, I was hoping to, I was trying to be able to actually come up on stage wearing the Lockheed Martin Hulk exoskeleton. You guys seen this? You know what exoskeletons are? So you've seen Iron Man, right? This is sort of a real, actual working version of that. But we make it at Lockheed Martin. When I first heard about it, I wanted to run over and see it, because it's fascinating, right? And I got about 90% of the paperwork done for being able to walk up here on stage and deliver a message about human augmentation to you guys. And then I made some offhand comment like, yeah, as soon as we're done, I'm going bar hopping wearing that. And boom, the paperwork is done. My apologies. I'm really it's my fault. But next time, hopefully I'll get the paperwork done and we'll do it. But, when I first saw the exoskeleton, the first thing I thought was, and they were saying, look at the capabilities the soldier's going to have. They can go further. They can carry more munitions. They can do all these great things. And I said, again, with my weird, eclectic perspective, I said, we're not going to need wheelchairs anymore. We won't need wheelchair ramps, right? Think about rehabilitation. When I'm 70 years old, I'm going to be able to tell my wife, hey, I'm going to run down to the store and pick up 40 pounds worth of groceries, and so I'm going to put on my exoskeleton and jog down there and pick it up and run back. And things like that. I had an ACL surgery not long ago. And the key to recovering from it, this one's the doctor did a great job. It's actually better than my other knee, I think. Is doing that rehabilitation. So in an exoskeleton, it can just do it for you. You could be sleeping and it could be going through, you can program it to do your range of motion exercises every hour or two or whatever. But there's something really interesting there happening. It's got a gyroscope in it, so even if I did go bar hopping, you could drink as much as you want and you never fall down. Oh, take me home. But it obviously has great, I think we are in a period of human augmentation, and I'd like to see more of that kind of stuff. So.
All right, we have questions?
We're busy building a simulation center in our hospital this year, and what should we invest in? What's your advice about what we invest in so we're investing in the future, not just building what everyone has already built before as simulation centers? Well,
I think I detailed a lot of the pieces here. We've been going around helping folks like, I was just at Weill Cornell in Manhattan with they have a project there called SAIL. And it's great. I love this kind of stuff because they just have a big open space. What should we put in here? Well, you got to have the mannequins. You want to, what kinds of things do you want to train on? But what's really interesting is, as I said, just carve out one section, as much space as because it's Manhattan real estate. I don't know how much they can afford, but carve out a section and just leave it there. And we're going to put sensors around there, and I'm going to put a holodeck in there, where people can walk in, wear a light set of glasses. We have a product now at Lockheed called the Holo Wall, which is sort of a portion of it. And again, we're trying to drive down the cost where you've got something that might be a couple of $1,000 that you can stand in front of, put on glasses, and be in a 3D environment collaboratively with somebody else. You could be on the other side of the world, but you're looking at an F-35 jet engine, or it could be a patient, or let's do a simulated surgery. Those options are here. So really, you just need, if you have the space, and you can start thinking about, like I would call some of these guys like immersion systems and the Hollywood guys, like David Boswell at EMS&T and Tom Whitaker at Motion Analysis, and get those systems in there because they're just getting so cheap. It's like you can't afford not to do it. It's too cheap to matter, and you'd be able to create these simulated environments. More questions? This is great.
I was just wondering if you could comment on, the acceleration of technology and what's happening, and people using mobile devices to communicate and things like that. When we're setting up simulation environments, how do we guard against losing the human touch that's so important in medicine?
Mm-hmm. I think it's funny you said that. I'll take the human touch part first. I think we've spent, for the first part of the information age, in our adolescence in the age, we spent a lot of time, adapting to the technology, like learning the batch codes for DOS and learning how to type and how to use a mouse. And, again, Alan Kay would say that it's sort of, we talk about how fast things are moving. He says it depends on where you're standing. I invented all that stuff in 1968. And you're still using it. We're still using Windows interfaces with overlapping windows that hide everything else underneath it. We're still using the mouse that Douglas Engelbart created in the 60s. What's great to me about things like Kinect and these sensors is now I do have a much more natural, interface with the environment. And I think you're going to see that get increasingly natural. So, in fact, I would use the word ambient, right? Where at some point, and I think it's probably, I keep making predictions, but let's say it's 15 years from now. However many people in this room, I don't know, let's say there were 200 people here, probably more, I'm not counting, but you'll actually have 400 entities in the room. So each one of us will have maybe a light set of glasses, a little compute device, or a couple of them probably networked in our personal LAN around our bodies. And while you're listening to me or while we're talking with each other, you've got your little pal the little brain pal. I'm borrowing that. There's a book, Jonathan Scalzi's Old Man's Wars, where they talk about the brain pal, so I don't want to steal anybody else's idea here. Where it's actually listening to the conversation, pulling that data for you. You're not doing anything. And we're having a sort of augmented conversation with each other. So if I'm a surgeon, I've got augmented data over the surgery that I'm doing. I'm interacting with the other people. And so basically, like I said, whoever has those capabilities and masters them first will appear superhuman. But I think it will be sort of a high, what's the right term here, high touch, where you are focusing more on the interaction with the other humans and the content than you are with like these devices that today are really, let's face it, they're in the way, right? They're unnatural. And it's slowly, again, incrementally been happening. Remember when, it wasn't that long ago, when you go into a company and computers were in one of the departments, probably the accounting department, right? And now we have companies that are built completely around computers, like Google and Facebook and things like that. That's the trend that's continuing to happen. So I think computers will tend to disappear. And then it's up to us with what we do with these superpowers that we get.
Okay, I've got the signal, guys. So we are coming to the end of this fabulous conference. So again, I think we need to give a tremendous round of applause. And I'll see you in Las Vegas.